Hi, my name is Emma and today I'm going to talk to you about supporting your secondary and A-level students who are studying online. Before we get started, please know that the presentation does refer to some external resources. Links to these resources can be found on our webpage next to this video clip. In today's session, I'm going to share with you some ideas on how to prepare your students through online learning, as well as look at some tips on how to support and engage them. A key point to make here is that studying online can take many forms. You may be delivering online live classes to your students, facilitating online discussion forums, or you might be preparing materials for your students to access remotely from home. There is no set way to deliver online learning, and you may well be using a mixture of approaches to suit both your school and your students. The ideas in this presentation can be applied to all forms of online learning. It is important that students feel comfortable with the differences between face-to-face and online learning, and you should explain these differences to them so they know what to expect. For example, when learning online, even if you are delivering a live session, you may want to explain that they may not have their questions answered immediately. Or if you are setting material for students to work through independently, such as worksheets, pre-recorded lessons or quizzes, you may want to explain how and when they can contact you with any questions. Another point that you may want to raise is that you may not be able to see if they are having difficulty understanding the material, and so you may want to discuss with your students what they should do if this happens. Lastly, don't assume that students will automatically know how to use the technology you are using. Set aside some time to explain the platform or platforms. You may want to refer them to a user guide or a step-by-step process to help them. One suggestion that has helped some teachers is to set up a demonstration or a screencast to explain each of the different activities they can expect. The big change to the way they learn is likely to inspire a lot of questions, so it is good to preempt the questions they might ask and compile an FAQ help sheet. This could be for students and/or parents. To help, we have listed some typical questions on the left-hand side of this table. However, remember that online learning, as with all teaching, is all about what teachers and students expect from each other. On the right-hand side are some behaviours you might expect from your students, but when or if you discuss these, also supply your students with information about what they can expect from you too. Here are some ideas of some guidelines you might want to issue to your students around how they can communicate and collaborate online. We have included a number of tasks and tools here, but you may wish to add or take away some depending on how you are delivering your content. What is important is that your students are aware of the different ways you want them to communicate with you and their classmates. Students will quickly learn how to get the most out of the learning opportunities and activities you have set for them, so don't be too afraid of trying something new. Here is an example of how you might deliver an online forum with your students. Forums can be a good way to start a discussion about a more complex topic, as it gives students time to think about key points and allows them to ask questions and discuss the topic more widely. Before you start, you may want to make sure that you set out some clear ground rules and expectations and show your students what a successful forum looks like. It can be helpful to show what types of comments contribute to a discussion and therefore what you are looking for from them. Try to set a long time limit to give everyone a chance to respond and comment. Try to link the discussion to a key learning point and to start the discussion yourself with some questions or comments to give your students confidence to reply themselves. You should monitor the group and add further questions or guidance if needed. At the end, make sure you pull everything together and highlight key points which were interesting to allow students to see how useful the discussion was. Whilst online learning is a very different way of learning for your students, it is important to remember that you can still develop some key employability skills with them by providing them with lots of different activities and opportunities. By encouraging them to work on something in their own time, as well as learning to work together, your students will be progressing their skills for work, college or university. We are now going to move on to student engagement and support strategies. Even though most students enjoy being online and using technology, this does not mean that they will find learning online easier or be more engaged with the content. Many teachers have talked to us about the issues they have faced with engaging their students online, particularly now the novelty has worn off and some students are tired of being at home all day. It is important that you recognise that all students will have dips in their learning and concentration. This table outlines the reasons why they might be having issues and not engaging with the content online. As you can see, there are many different reasons, and I'm sure you can recognise some of these experiences yourself as you work during lockdown. The key thing here is to recognise that all students are different and may need different forms of support to help them engage and stay motivated. Here are some of the things you can do to support and encourage your students. You could start with a simple digital literacy assessment. We have supplied an example from the University of Exeter on our website right next to the link to this video if you would like to see an example. These assessments help you to gauge how confident your students feel about technology and can help you plan some skills sessions or to link up students to help each other. Another way to support students is to set out a clear study timetable and learning pathway, which gives deadlines and an idea of how long each task can take. It is also useful for parents or guardians to have this information to help students keep on track. As you might already do in your classroom at school, be sure to reward and praise your students for good work or behaviour. Here are some top tips for students studying online. You could give these out to your students to remind them of the key things they need to remember. One of the key things to remind your students, especially if you are not holding a lot of live lessons, is that learning online can be quite isolating. Encourage them to keep in touch with you as much as they can, as well as talking to their classmates and friends. Try to set them projects which make them work together and encourage the use of discussion forums and/or a time for everyone to meet online to keep in touch. Having a toolkit for your students is one of the key support strategies which can be used, especially when students have little or no experience of online learning. These are just some suggestions, and you may well want to include some more ideas. Let's have a quick look at some of the materials which are available to support you and your students. As well as materials on our subject pages, there is a special area on our website which includes a number of general and more targeted resources to help you with your online learning. As I am sure you are aware, this is our third video about online learning and delivery. If you would like to access our other videos, Introduction to Remote Learning and Planning and Teaching Online, please go to our website. If you have any questions about this video, you can contact us via the form on the website or the telephone number on the slide. For anything which is subject specific, please contact your subject advisor. Their details can be found on the individual subject pages on the website. Alternatively, if you would like to read the latest information from Pearson during the COVID-19 pandemic, please visit our FAQ page on the website. Thank you very much for listening.